The other thing that we're working on is we just have little hitches here and there. We'll have like weird little black pauses before movies, and so we just have to optimize and figure out what's going on and why we have these little delays. And so a lot of our time is spent just tracking down these kind of low-level problems that have come up, and then at the same time we're just playing the game as much as we can just to make sure that every little I is dotted and T is crossed, and that we've got all the details and everything is of that Insomniac high level of quality. So that's pretty much it. And it's a big game, and it's tough for us to both be working and fixing on these problems, trying to solve them at the same time, spend enough time to actually thoroughly play through it and make sure we're catching everything. So that's what I'm trying to spend most of my time.
So, question for you, Brian, is maybe we've never really revealed this part of the production process to anybody outside of the company before. So maybe just provide some context for everybody as far as this sort of experience is very normal and happens every game.
Oh
basically.
Yeah, I mean this happened on Resistance. This happened on every game I've worked on, and there's just a lot of things that come up in the end that have kind of fallen through the cracks or that you haven't expected that pop up, and so it's just some firefighting that occurs. So it's nothing new, but at the same time, it's a bit frenzied, a bit hectic, and that's how it always is. I mean, it's just part of the job. But I'm really excited about the game, and it is when we're not looking at the problems and not trying to solve them. It's just a lot of fun to play, and we've got some really beautiful worlds, some great characters, and there's just a lot of humorous moments. And I still run into these funny bits. Mr. Zurkon has these really hilarious comments. He'll fall in the water, and Mr. Zurkon will say, "Mr. Zurkon cannot swim," and as Ratchet drowns, in this deadly water. And so there's just little bits like that kind of come up that make us chuckle. And I think people are going to have a really, really good time.
I like when Mr. Zurkon says, I think he says something like, "Harmless little alien friend, I am not here to hurt you." And then it's a pause. Psych, Mr. Zurkon lived only to kill. Obliterates him.
Mr. Zurkon's awesome.
Yes, they're bing, 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 awesome.
Yeah, there it is. I can't believe I did it.
Got some backslapping and some awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I got to give some love to TJ, that's all.
So, speaking of Japan, actually, we talk about our most recent visit.
Yeah, we had our Japanese kind of media tour here just recently. Some folks from Fumitsu and Dankeke were here, and we gave them a little tour through the game, showed them what we had showed the U.S. press, and it was a really good response. Actually, we had a Q&A session, and they didn't really have any questions. They were just stuck with their faces to the screens, playing the game, and just really having fun, jumping around on dinosaurs and flying with the robo-wings. But they just were really impressed, and it's actually you'd mentioned that they're going to feature 2 pages, right?
Yeah, they're gonna really for Fumitsu they're gonna blow it out, and it's really significant because it comes right before Tokyo Game Show, which is great timing for us, and B, the amount of space that they're devoting. Kim-san, one of our key contacts at Sony Japan, mentioned that the amount of space that they're going to devote to Ratchet and Clank Tools of Destruction is only games like Metal Gear Solid 4 and Super Mario Galaxy would get the same treatment. And for us to be a Western title to receive that type of coverage indicates the love that the Japanese have for Ratchet and Clank. And for those of you who have been to Japan or have been to Tokyo Game Show, you can vouch for Ratchet really as a mascot for PlayStation 2 in the way that Crash was for PlayStation 1, essentially. So it's pretty flattering, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, ever since the first Ratchet and Clank, that was shipped with PlayStation 2s in Japan. And so it's just had a lot of exposure. It's been in the top 100.
What's that? I was going to say, it's like the first Western title bundled, I believe,
yeah,
with the console.
That's right.
That is true.
In Japan.
So yeah, and it's been also ranked as being one of the top 100 Japanese games each year. A Ratchet game is in that list, which is very rare. So to have a Western game ranked there.
Well, and it's also fun too because we're doing a lot to. I mean, like I said, we've always done a lot to support that because it's we have a different Ratchet model, and that sometimes requires making some of the movies, which is a whole extra process of recreating some of the movies with the different Ratchet model. But even one of the things we've done this year is with the trailers. There is a Japanese version of the the E3 trailer that you've all already seen, and has the awesome Japanese announcer at the end saying with this long drawn out future. It's awesome. We just laugh every time we see it. So they actually have fully localized versions of the trailers where all the gameplay's been redone with Japanese Ratchet, all the cutscenes are recaptured, they put in the Japanese dialogue, they have a Japanese narrator. Who knows if they're saying the same thing that our narrator is?
From what I understand, Shimizu-san, who's over at he's like a consultant over at Sony, actually rewrites kind of the backstory and the overall story, and kind of something that the Japanese audience tends to like more is just a ton of backstory and information, and so he supplies a lot of that wherever he can.
I'm sure TJ's happy to hear that. What?
Post-production right now. Yeah. Something tells me he's not at home listening to the Full Moon Show.
I think he's in Vegas, actually, so that's funny.
So I just had a quick idea. In the spirit of awesome self-deprecating humor, the first person to count up the number of times that we say awesome, including that one right there, throughout the podcast, email to podcast@insomniacgames.com. We will send that person a signed copy of one of our Ratchet and Clank Future epic movie posters.
Awesome. But how do we know how many times we said awesome? Does that mean are you going to? No. So now they know that they could just ballpark it and email as soon as they hear this.
When we listen to this for quality control later, I will personally count.
Okay. That's today,
And that's awesome.
That's so not awesome. So not.
Does not awesome count as awesome too?
It does, in fact.
Wow. I'm done.
Awesome.
Stop it right now. That doesn't count. That part right there. You said it 3. No, stop.
Awesome.
Stop it.
I just know you have to count all these awesomes.
You have to count them all. Okay, this is getting confusing.
Don't make me cut this segment. No.
Awesome.
All right. And with that,
I think that's just about it for Ratchet and Clank Future today. It's coming along. You'll be playing it in 7-8 weeks now. 7 weeks, something like that?
Give or take, yeah.
6-7 weeks.
October 23rd.
October 23rd, and this is September 6th. So,
yes.
Yeah, it's about 7-8 weeks.